Madam G.
Yes, good morning, councillors, committee members. Can I just get an indication who's already on team? Matika, I saw the deputy mayor opposite, don't see him on team yet.
Morning, Mayor.
Councillor Crouching is on the opposite, I don't see her yet on. Morning, Councillor Basta. I thought I would never do that. Morning, Councillor Volmerans. I'm the last person that should do that mistake because I was referred to as Councillor van Wasserman at one stage also. Councillor Wasserman, I saw that you're also there.
Mayor, just a correction. It's Elder Lady Wilmerans now, please.
Elder lady. Councillor van Asbjørn don't have any problem with that. I apologize profusely that I did not call you elder lady.
It's just a joke, Councillor van Asbjørn.
Machoni.
Morning, my councillor, Chokolo.
So let's. Councillors, it's 1 minute to 8. I need to know if all the mayoral committee members is already on Teams or are already on team. I see Councillor Crouch is there. I see Councillor Matika there. Councillor Lasse. Councillor Lasse is connected. Councillor Kostana. Can I ask that we start doing this when I think it's a good time?
Mr. Mayor, you're breaking up. I don't know whether it's from my side or what. But the sound is bad.
Is it?
I can't hear anything. I don't know if any other councillor has got a problem.
Is that
It's the same. It's the same with me. That's why I've typed a message to say I can't hear anything.
Mr. Angela, I can take you.
the council?
Ek hoor ook niks nie.
The Maya is breaking up. Maya, you are breaking up. We can't hear you.
It is getting fixed.
Someone is playing mute.
Councillors, just mute their mics, please.
Hello?
Can councillors just mute their mics, please?
It's Kirsty said it seems as if there's a network problem at the office. She's trying to sort it out. Hi.
Okay, no, thanks,
Council
Jolene.
caller is the only you can do it. If there any person that is not or that is muted, can you please just switch on your mute your on camera? So while this and everybody that is keep it like that. Council your caller is the audio much more better now. Council caller?
It's on
Can
and
I get
off,
councillors
on and
how
off,
we
Mayor. It's breaking.
there's what the network is causing.
Yeah, it's patchy network.
Volmerans wrong here to connect the off. Okay, can I ask councillors, can okay.
It's a sabotage, May. Your call is sabotaging us.
Mayor, you are
Can
breaking
I
up.
ask councillors to switch off their cameras? Councillor Theopola, just switch off all cameras, please, because that might have an impact on the connection. Councillor Wedeman, good morning. Can I ask again all councillors to switch off their cameras, please? Can anybody hear me now?
Loud and clear.
Thank you. Yes, Maya.
Okay, thank you very much, councillors, officials, members of the public. I hope that the audio is of much better quality. I would love to start our meeting. Can I again just get an indication that everybody can hear me quite clearly? If there's any
Yes.
person, just show hand that you can't hear me, and then we need to arrange to make sure that the audio for you could be rectified. Okay, councillors, good morning again to all of you. Can I just get an indication by the show of hand to the mayoral committee members? Deputy Mayor, are you there? Before we start, Deputy Mayor.
Yes, yes, number one, I'm here.
Just so you.
Mr. Mayor, the audio is going again.
You're breaking again, Mayor.
To your hand. Don't switch on the camera. Councillor Kraut.
Mayor, you are gone again, eh?
Thank you, Deputy
I'm here, Deputy Mayor, I'm here.
Mayor. Just to come. Okay, thank you. How is the audio now? Better?
Yes.
I've just got IT. You see that is the. You see there. It stated. Councillor, my apologies. I just here to sort it because the problem is on my side. there's some quality problem with connections here.
Thank you for your message.
Councillors, can you please
Quality.
mute your mic?
Thanks.
Good day, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Kirsty.
Yes,
IT is just
Kirsty.
busy. IT is just busy reconnecting the mayor. He will be with you shortly.
Okay, thanks. Danke, ciao.
Councillors, good morning again. My apologies, IT just sorted out the audio and the computer here. I can assure you, Councillor Theokola, it's got nothing to do with my inability to deal with with IT or with technology. These things normally happen, it works perfectly fine, and then you have to start the meeting, then something just went wrong. But okay, now it's sorted out, we can start our meeting. Let me just, before I start the meeting, make sure that all the committee members are here, councillors. Let me welcome all councillors, all officials, members of the public, in specific, also the acting MM, who is currently going to attend his first mayoral committee meeting. This is also my first mayoral committee meeting, and I hope that we will get through this agenda smoothly and as quick as possible. Not to rush anything, but not dwell on issues which we believe we're just here to speak about and not do anything about it. I'd like to start by saying the following. As part of my welcome, I'm going to address it at a later stage again. They're saying, Councillor Matika, why is your hand up?
Yeah.
Councillor Matika and Councillor...
Yeah, I just want to check, man, is there a link for public to be part of this meeting?
Jill, are you in a position to respond to that quickly?
Chairperson, Executive Mayor, there's a YouTube link that has been sent by IT, so everyone can connect to the YouTube link.
Thank you, Rasmi.
I hope that answers your question, Councillor Matika. Deputy Mayor, hand up.
Sorry, Mayor, can we be sent on WhatsApp? I didn't receive it, so that there are people who are interested to listen to the meeting.
I will do that just now, Councillor. Mr. Mayor, I've also posted it on our social media platforms.
Thank you, Mr. Besaidnout. Deputy Mayor, your hand is up.
No, number one, that's an old hand. It's an old hand.
No, Sakoma, I believe. Let me again just start by saying the following. I'm getting very concerned, councillors, and I'm going to raise it probably at the end of the meeting, and probably there's in-committee items going to raise it again. I'm very concerned about the fact that there's a lot of things going around in social media where we find out that people out there with or for their own reasons, and sometimes I believe it's an orchestrated move to tarnish the name of the municipality. But more concern now is that we attack staff members of the municipality. I want to be clear, and so people can understand, and even the public that listen to this. This municipality and this council will not allow its staff to be victimized out in the public. I can assure them. There's not to the staff. I can assure you that this municipality and this council in specific will leave no stone untouched to make sure that we take care of our staff. When any person got any accusations or rumors or evidence, I've said on more than one occasions, if you got any evidence against any person, whether it's a council or staff, go and lay charges. But we cannot allow that those staff being victimized in social media, pictures put on them in social media as if those people are criminals. That is not going to happen. So I would love councillors and specifically do your part to make sure that we do not tarnish the name and the institution itself. And do your part to make sure that we protect our staff, because it's our duty. They're not elected officials. They can say anything about the mayor. It's fine. I don't care about that. But these are people that is working on a daily basis under very difficult situations. So again, I just want to make that opening remark as part of my welcome. Can we then go to number 2, the attendance? Members of the mayoral committee. Can I just get an indication if all of you are in the meeting? I saw Councillor Chengwa. Thank you for your hand, Councillor, Deputy Mayor. Unless that is not a question, but just indicating that you're in the meeting, it's fine.
Yeah, no. Yes, number one, I just wanted to indicate that I'm in the meeting, but I think I also want to labor on what you have just said. I thought maybe towards the end of this meeting, we are going to speak about what we've just raised. You know, it can't be correct, number one. I fully support with you. I'm in support of you 100%. But I thought we were going to open this debate, particularly on what we are raising, towards the end of the meeting when we're done with this agenda, so that we really deal with that particular issue. If there are staff members who give information, you know, from particularly to that Mike Kempton, we deal with that particular issue. We can never beat about the bush as if we don't know what is happening.
Can I interrupt you there, please? As you stated, we're going to have a discussion at the end on that, on the meeting. But thank you. Councillor Kraus, can you just indicate by the show of your hand you are there?
I'm here.
Okay, Councillor Kusana, you are there?
In the corner.
Thank you, sir. Councillor Matika, you are there? Councillor Matika? Okay.
I'm here, Mayor.
And last but not the least, Councillor Salase. Are you there, sir?
I am on, Mayor.
Councillor Salase, thank you very much. There's a bit of a slight echo on your audio there, but probably it's just a little problem. So all members are present. Any other councillors present? Can I just have an indication? I'm not going to start alphabetically. Let me just ask, as I could recall, Councillor Wasserman, you are there. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Councillor Weideman, I can see you. Thank you. Councillor Teokola, you are there. Councillor Opperman are there. Any other councillors?
Wolmerans.
Elder Lady Wolmerans are there?
Councillor
You are there. Thank you very much, sir. Is that all?
Strubel is also here, Mayor.
Councillor Strubel, welcome from the far side of Knysna.
Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning.
Any other
morning,
councillors?
everyone. Good morning,
Councillor
everyone.
Gombo, is it
Mayor,
you
I'm
there?
also- Yes, Mayor.
Councillor Gombo, welcome to the meeting, Speaker. Your audio is a bit very soft there.
Yeah,
Just
I've
try when
also
you-
got
okay, now I
connection
can hear you.
problems this morning.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other councillors which I left out? Councillor Naki, Councillor Matiwana, I didn't hear from you. But if you are there, feel welcome. Councillors, Mayoral Committee meeting is open for participation by all councillors. It's not an exclusive committee, although it's a Mayoral Committee. So as the chairperson of the committee, I allow any councillors to participate in the meeting. All these hands that is currently showed, I just assume it's an old hand. So okay, then on the administrative side, Councillor
Chair.
Tana.
Yes, Chair. Chair, I want to check, is the translator part of the meeting?
Come again, I
Yes,
didn't hear.
Chairperson. Yes, Chairperson, I'm in the meeting. Thank you. Yes, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Bart. Thank you there. Officials, you there?
I am, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Corporate Services.
I'm here, Mayor.
Thank you, CFO. CFO.
I am present.
Thank you. Director Technical Services.
Present, sir.
Thank you. Director Community Services.
I'm present, Mayor.
Thank you. Director Planning and Development.
I'm here, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. And the last director would be Director Integrated Development Settlements.
I'm present, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other officials just indicated so that we know and it can be minuted?
Non-Kanslam Develop, Head of Properties is present, Mayor.
Thank you, ma'am. Any other person?
Christopher Bezuidenhout, Communications, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Poseidon. Anybody else?
Morning, Mayor. Melanie Paulson, Manager Legal Services.
Welkom uit die Ooskaap. Anybody else? If not, let's start our meeting.
Chair,
Sorry.
Ray Barrow.
Oh, Mr. Hennessy. Sorry, my apologies to the audit committee members. Mr. Hennessy, welcome to the meeting. Any other audit committee members?
Yes, Ray Barrow.
Mr. Barrow, Chairperson, thank you very much for your attendance. Thank you for being with us. Anybody else? Luke, I saw your hand.
I
What is
won't be able to stay for the whole meeting, Chair.
No, it's fine. Can't let's start our meeting and continue on the agenda. So we've got members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I raised my hand. Just want to inform you that the Director Planning and Development will have to leave us at 9:45. And if she's done with where she has to go to, she'll rejoin us should the meeting still be on. But she has to leave at 9:45.
Ma'am, I hear what you say. Just remember this meeting was advertised a long time ago. I understand.
This is unfortunately for a disciplinary hearing which has to give evidence.
Okay, and I understand. I just want to make sure that people know that our meetings were not just announced yesterday. It is available along for all of us. But okay, it's fine. Councillors coming back. So we've got all members present. There are no members absent without leave. All other councillors indicated that they're present. Number 3, noting of the provisions of the Code of Conduct for Councillors. That's the one I want to start with. And then secondly, if there's any interest that you need to declare, please do that. I see 2 hands. The hands of Councillor Wolmerans and the hands of the MM. I just hope it's old hands.
No, no.
The lady.
Thank you, Maya. No, it's not an old hand. If you can recall, at one other special council meeting, there was a debate about when councillors must declare their interest. So I just want to be on the safe side, and I want to declare my interest on 2 items that is on the agenda of today. That is G10 720 and G12 720. The first one is because I'm the chairperson of the Child Welfare Board. And then the second item, where it refers to the only replacement clinic, I am a board member of the hospital board. I don't want along the line that this must bite me. So that's why I just want the minutes to reflect that I did declare my interest in those 2 items. Thank you, Maya.
Yeah, elder lady, thank you very much. It will be so noted. What is happening here? Councillor Weideman.
Thank you, Mayor. I am also on the board of the hospital. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Weideman. It will be so noted.
Thank you.
Then we move on. Confirmation of minutes. The minutes of the previous meeting that took place on the 5th of March 2020. And you will find that starting on page 7. I will not go through it page by page, but any member of that mayoral committee just can indicate the minutes are correct, or even any other councillor indicate that the minutes are correct. Councillor Cordin, Councillor Weideman, is that an old hand?
Sorry, yes, I will lower it.
Councillor Crouch?
I can confirm, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Crouch. If there are not any corrections of the minute, can I get the confirmation of the minute that is correct? Councillor Crouch, you propose that? A seconder for that confirmation?
There's a seconding Councillor Crosana, seconding Chairperson.
Okay. So then the minutes have been confirmed. Our next item will then be matters arising from the minutes. Councillor Speaker, I see your hand, and then I see also Councillor Wasserman's hand. Can I start with the Speaker's hand?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I'm getting also connection problems here. I also wanted to declare my interest on the issue of nicer child welfare. I'm also a board member.
Thank you, Councillor Gombo. There is some problem with your audio. Yes, klink baie saam. Councillor Wasserman.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got 3 matters arising that I would like to raise. The first one is on page 11 of the report. It is MG 080220, and it was resolved by the Mayoral Committee that a status report on the dispute with the Garden Route District Municipality with regards to the properties be submitted to a special council meeting. Now, since the 5th of March, when that was resolved, there have been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 special council meetings, and we haven't yet had that report, Mayor. So I would just like to know why it hasn't yet been submitted. Mayor, then I'd like to move on to page 25, and it was also resolved by the Mayoral Committee under item MF0702 of 20, that a workshop be arranged by the Speaker on the prepaid water meter project. Now that was resolved in March and we're now in July. So if I could just get clarity on why that hasn't been arranged yet. And then, Chair, on page 53, from the governance meeting, it was resolved there that a report on the staff housing be referred to this MACO meeting, but I don't see that as an item on this agenda. So if I could just ask the administration where that item is, please. Thank you.
Councillor Wasserman, thank you very much. The last one we will deal not under this specific item, but the two that you raised is applicable to the minutes of the previous meeting. So you're correct. Let me rather ask the MM if he's in a position to respond to that. MM, on page 11, it was raised by Councillor Wasserman about that status report regarding the dispute with Garden Route District Municipality. Do you, sir, have any response to that?
Mr. Mayor, yes, there is a report that is being prepared at the moment. We are hoping to submit it to council next week. It is a matter that is outstanding and it needs council's urgent attention. But there is a report that is busy circulating at the moment. I'm just making input into that report.
Councillor Wasserman, does that answer your question on that specific item?
It does, thank you, Mayor. It is concerning that there have already been 7 special council meetings since March when this was resolved. So I know the acting municipal manager is new and we can't hold him responsible, but it is just very worrying that these things take so long when it obviously was considered as urgent. Thank you.
Councillor Wasserman, thank you very much. I can assure you I've also addressed that with the MM and with the mayoral committee. So I do take that serious and that concern of yours is valid. The other one, MM, it's on page, let me just quickly go back, and I think there's the one about the workshop on page 25, that the report submitted to the next meeting of the committee on where electricity was cut, but the D1, that the works will be arranged by the speaker on the prepaid water meter projects. I'm not quite sure, MM, if you are responsible to respond to that, or whether that should be the speaker. MM, you can respond, or the speaker. Councillor Chengwa, I saw your hand, Deputy Mayor.
Number one, apologies, man. It's an old end. Sorry, man. Apologies.
It's fine. MM or speaker, you want to respond to that?
Mr. Mayor, I unfortunately don't have a response. I'm hoping the speaker can assist me.
Speaker?
Sorry, Mayor, repeat that again.
Speaker, when you look at the agenda, there's an item 07220 on page 25. In D, there is a resolution stated that a workshop be arranged by the speaker on the prepaid water meter project. Are you in a position to respond? I see Councillor Kraut's hand, but I will allow you, Speaker, to respond quickly on that.
Yes, Mayor. We will have the workshop. I think we're going to combine it with the workshop we're going to have on the adjustment budget. We will have the date will be communicated, Mayor.
Speaker, thank you very much. Councillor Kraut, did you want to add on to what Councillor before Councillor Wasserman again raised your concern? Councillor Kraut?
Yes, Mayor, there was a workshop. I remember there was a workshop on the water meters. I don't know the specific date, but maybe the CFO can give us a little bit more clearance on that, but I remember there was a workshop.
Councillor Wasserman, before I give the opportunity, let's get all these people that knows about these things just to respond. CFO, can you enlighten us, please?
Thank you, Mayor. The workshop was held on the prepaid water meters, which Sakikaya came to present, and the councillors in majority attended that workshop. And Sakikaya explained how the process works and the software that they will hand over to the municipality as they leave the project. The workshop was held, so I don't know if there's intention to have another workshop, but that workshop was held with Michael and the lady I forgot the lady's name that was presenting on behalf of Sakikai.
Thank you, MM.
Mayor, number one.
Wait, Deputy Mayor, just wait. Let me get the sequence correct here. I saw Councillor Wasserman's hand and I also saw the speaker's hand, and then you will then be the third person. Councillor Wasserman?
No, thank you very much. Mayor, if the Sakikai presentation was in fact the workshop, then I'm very pleased that it's been held. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. If Councillor Wasserman is happy because he raised this issue, then I think we finish with this item. I'm not quite sure why other people want to speak on it. So I'm happy with the response given by the CFO as well by Councillor Kraus.
Mayor?
Yes, Speaker, I just hope it's
No,
not on the same
no.
item. Just wait, Speaker.
No, Mayor, because it's on the same item, because I know there was a workshop. And then after we had the workshop, because the workshop was done for councillors, I can remember about that workshop. But after then, there was a lot of other questions that were raised, and it was coming especially from Councillor Davis in Sedgefield, I can remember. And then we said that is why the resolution is there, that we're going to have a follow-up workshop with councillors to again try and explain how these water meters work. Because I can remember now there was an issue, especially in Ward 1.
Then, as I understand it correctly, Speaker, it would be therefore a follow-up meeting.
Yes, Mayor.
So, Councillor Wasserman, I just hope that answers your question. The meeting did take place. A workshop did take place, but there will be a follow-up workshop in that regard. I hope you're happy with that answer. Councillor Chengwa, why?
No, number one, I think I just wanted to clarify. I remember that time I was acting mayor. Councillor Wasserman was part of that workshop. She was part of that workshop. I remember vividly when an issue of 100,000, an allegation which was that one. I remember that question was asked by yourself. Number one, you know, that was that workshop of Sakikaya. Wasserman was part of that workshop. Thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor, thank you very much. We will step off that specific item. Any other matters arising from that minutes? Mr. Mamani, I see your hand. Is that a new hand? Deputy Mayor, I see your hand. Is that a new hand? And I don't want us to go back to this water meeting. We finished with that one. So it might be something else that you want to raise. Deputy Mayor?
That's an old end of the Deputy Mayor.
Okay, let's continue. Any other matters arising from the minutes? CFO?
No, I don't have my hand up.
Okay, then it was an old end. You see, I still see your hand up. Mamani plus one and other. But okay, that's probably an old end. Any other matters arising from the minutes? Councillor Chengwa, Deputy Mayor.
That's an old end, Mayor.
Okay, then something is wrong with the system here because it just continues showing hands here, the CFO's hand and Councillor Chengwa's hand. Okay, let's continue. If there are any other matters arising from the minutes, can we move on? We're now on page 34. That would be items for consideration. Item number 7. Report back, it will be G0807-2020. Report back on the application for lease of a portion of Earth 2252, only Neisner. Councillor Theokola, I just hope it's not on matters arising again, because I've asked more than once. Councillor Theokola?
No, Chair, it's not on matters. It's the new items to be considered by the MACO chairperson. Chair, there's an item, I think Councillor Wasserman raised it, but I knew I was going to raise it here. There's an item about staff housing. It is under items to be noted. I think it's on page 50. Let me check quickly. It's on page 53. And my concern, Chair, it is on items for noting. But if you look at the actual item, the recommendation is that it be considered in this meeting. So for me, I think it's supposed to be one of these items that are supposed to be considered today. So it can't be for noting, whereas the recommendation is clearly saying it should be considered in this meeting. Therefore, Chair, I think it should be added under the item G1207-2020, which is on page 38. After that item, I think we should deal with that one because it's not for noting, it's for consideration in this meeting. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Theokola, thank you very much. You see, you're running too quick, man. I'm aware of that because I've discussed it with the MM as well as with the portfolio councillor, but you're a bit too quick now. We will deal with it, and prior to getting to the noting items, then this item will be brought up and discussed. So can I ask you therefore, sir, when we finish with the first part, and I'm talking about the items we're currently busy under discussion, can you please then raise it again there so that we brought it or bring it forward if it's necessary to bring forward? Is that fine with you, Councillor Theokola?
I don't have a problem, Chair, as long as it's going to be at least considered, because my worry was that it is under the items to be noted. Otherwise, I'm fine with it, Chair. Thanks.
No, you can be assured I've raised it also. So we will touch on it when we get to that. Okay, let's go back now to point under discussion. With somebody. Okay, page 34. There's a recommendation there, Mayoral Committee. Are we in agreement with that one?
Yes, Mayor.
All in agreement?
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. Item G1007-2020, report back on the application to purchase 8269 Kailet to Neisner. There's a recommendation. We in agreement with that?
Chair, now I've raised my hand, Chair.
Okay. I see, yes, elder lady. Elder lady.
Chair, yes, Chair. I just want to be very clear of what we are saying in the recommendations. In C, we said it's not approved. Then in E, it says that a report on whether it is viable for a lease to be concluded with Dorothy Broster Child and Youth Welfare Center for that portion until the site is developed be submitted to a subsequent meeting to the Finance and Corporate Service Committee for further consideration. Now, my worry about this is that the intention of Dorothy Broster is to utilize that portion as a playground. So if they have now, if we are going to allow them to erect a playground on that portion, and then the municipality is going to come back and say, no, but now we need to use it, to develop it for housing. So I just need some clarity on what we are saying in this recommendation. Thank you, Mayor.
Elder lady, I can explain to you my understanding, but I will rather allow the chairperson, because the chairperson of that portfolio would be in a better space to respond to that. But my interpretation I can give you, but may rather give her the opportunity. I also see Councillor Gombo's hand. Let me start with the chairperson to explain to Elder Lady Wolmerans, the recommendation.
Thanks. Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, what happens on this item is When the committee was debating this, Councillor Gombo also came into the discussion, where Councillor Gombo talked about the importance of a playground, and we then as a committee agree, we can't just say we build houses, but at the end of the day, we don't create anything for children to play. So that is why the recommendation G is there, that the erection of a play park in the vicinity of ERFs 8269 be explored. So that we don't just erect housing, but that we must create space for kids to play also.
Councillor Cross, thank you very much. I think the confusion of Councillor, Elder Lady Wolmarans is as follows. And I want to understand this as follows also. There was an application for the purchase of the property by, I assume it was Dorothy Broster, I'm not quite sure, but there was an application for the purchase of that application. Your committee decided not to approve, and I'm talking about the purchasing. Let's understand it. But then in E, for example, instead of Dorothy Broster purchase the property, that there should be, they're looking at a lease, and whether a lease is viable to be concluded between those two for that portion. Dorothy Broster then basically consider leasing the property. Let's understand the second part. And then it went further to the one that you just mentioned. The direction of a play park in the vicinity of Earth be explored. So that lease, to my knowledge, is part of the exploration of the play park. But the committee decided not to sell the land to Dorothy Broster, but should rather look at a viable lease agreement and looking at the report to such a lease. Councillor Gombo, am I correct?
Yes, Maya, you are correct. But I think the wording must just be very clear what we are saying. Our recommendations must be very clear what we are saying.
Councillor Gombo, just to make sure which part is not clear, because let's go to the recommendation.
I think that is what
it's fine.
Why Councillor Wolmarans is also confused. I think the recommendation must be clear that we incorporate the playground within the development of the housing development for Dorothy Broster.
Speaker, just hang on there. A, we fine. B, that be noted that the property is required for social housing purposes. That's fine. C, that the application to purchase not be approved. That's fine. That's clear. There's nothing not clear about that one. D, that the report on the use of the cottage be submitted to the Financial and Corporate Service for consideration. That one, the use of those cottages to be submitted to that committee for consideration. That one might be need some explanation to do. And I come back to that one. E, that the report for the lease be concluded. That one, there's nothing wrong with that one. That is clear. It's quite clear what is intention there. F, the allegations with regard to the email indicating that the costs are required for provision of housing and to disabled beneficiaries be probed, by the acting municipal manager and thereafter a report be submitted. That's clear. Probe that allegations about that email. So I need to understand, and I see your hand, Councillor Zuko, and I see Councillor Gombo's hand. I need to be clear from this recommendation that people understand it. Can I ask quickly, before I give all the councillors hands, and there's a lot of hands currently running around, can I get guidance here from administration? Either you or Melanie or even Carl, if he's available. The recommendation in front of us. Each part of it can be interpreted differently as our intention.
Mr. Mayor, I've lost my place
Before I
on
go-
the agenda
before I
now.
continue, Can
you
I
just
ask?
give me the number again,
Just
please?
hang on, just hang on. Can I just ask all councillors or officials to
Mr. Mayor, I've muted also. You can now put your mic on again, please.
We've lost the mayor again now. Looks like we've lost him.
You didn't lose the mayor. I'm asking now the MN just to report on the issue that the recommendation is not clear. Either he or Mr. Matthias or Melanie to make it clear how we should interpret this recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, I've just lost my place in the agenda. Can you just give me the page number again, please?
Page 36. Item under discussion is G10-7-2020.
I have it, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All I want to know from you, Acting MN, there's a concern that the recommendation in front of the mayoral committee is not quite clear and specific what we intend to do coming from that Section 80 committee. Do you have any comment on that?
Mr. Mayor, in my opinion, this recommendation is quite clear. I don't think there's anything that needs to be added to it. It's clear.
Thank you, MM. I saw the Director Corporate Services end.
No, thank you, Mayor. The recommendation was brought about by the discussion that was held in the Section 80 committee meeting, where there was an issue raised by specifically the speaker about the use of those cottages, where she was adamant that we are not using those cottages, are not used for the purpose that they were intended for, and that should be investigated. So that is why there was then that recommendation that a report back would need to be given to the committee so that they can consider it whether the cottages are indeed used for the intention that they were intended for. Hence that recommendation. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director. Councillor Wolmerus, sorry, elder lady. So we conclude this item.
Mayor, yes, thanks. Mayor, I am still not comfortable with E. It says that we are going to lease this to Dorothy Broster, but when the site is going to develop, then Dorothy Broster can no longer use that portion of the earth. That is how I understand it. Julle weet, Engels is nie my eerste taal, Afrikaans is my eerste taal. So Dorothy Broster has got a sponsor that want to erect this playground for the kids. So that part is the part that is worrying me. It says until the site is developed. So what is going to happen when the site is going to start to develop? Are we going to then ask Dorothy Broster to vacate? That part needs to be very clear to me, please.
Elder lady, you see, the first part of E you did not actually follow clearly. That's why I said it's quite clear for me also. That one stated that there should be a report on whether it is viable for the lease be concluded. So we still need to get a report. That's how I understood it. Before we get to the issue about lease, we need to get the report, and that report will say whether it's viable or not to lease the property. So that's why I said for me it was quite clear. I saw a few other hands. I hope it also make it clear now for you.
No, thank you, Maya. I will wait that report, Maya. But it's just we skip a verwachting now by Dorothy Broster that maybe there will be something, and they are waiting for so long now. But I will leave it at that. Thanks.
We are creating an expectation of Dorothy Broster for consumption.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yale lady. It's quite clear that we're just talking here about the report. Okay, members of the committee, you happy with the recommendation? Councillor Wasserman.
Thanks, Chairperson. No, I just wanted to clarify for Councillor Wolmerans that the committee thought about the fact that that property might only be developed in 10 years' time. And if that's the case, why not let Dorothy Broster have access to that space as a play park for at least that period? So, and you're quite correct that the report will then tell us whether it is viable to let them have access to it and for how long.
Thank you, Councillor Wasserman. Members of the committee, can we continue now? I think the recommendation is quite clear. Those people that serve on that committee, which probably include Councillor Wasserman and Councillor Tiokolo, precisely know what they want to achieve through that recommendation. So it's quite clear. Thank you very much. Councillor Kosana, we finished with this item. Can I ask the members of the mayoral committee if they are happy with the recommendation as it is?
Yes, Chair, we are happy. Let's continue.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we move to item G11-7-2020.
Can the people please mute their mics, Maya? It's very disturbing.
Louis, sorry, you've got a gadget there that you just press the button, everybody's muted. You must just give me that button also. So I can just mute everybody that is not muted.
You have it, Maya, but I'm going to mute them all again now. Maya, you can switch on your mic now again.
Sorry, G11-7-2020. Report back on the application to purchase a portion of a 214 White location. The recommendation you will find on page 37. Members of the committee, you are happy with that recommendation coming from the Section 80 committee?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
All in agreement? Thank you, Councillor Selassie. Okay, that one is finished. We move on to page 38.
Sorry, Mayor.
Director, what is it, my dear?
On recommendation B, can we please delete the be noted at the end? Because we've already said that it be noted. Right at the end of recommendation B of the same recommendation, we delete the be noted at the end. Thank you.
No, you corrected. And I'm a bit disappointed in some of my linguistic counsels that they didn't pick up that one. But thank you very much, Director. We delete that one. The last one, be noted, be deleted. Thank you. On page 38, report back on the application to lease a portion of 3281 only, Neisner on replacement clinic. The recommendation A, B, C, D, E. Happy with that, members of the committee? Councillor Wolmerans.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, I just want to say that I'm very happy that we are making progress on this one. This is now coming for very long. It was still in my time when I was the mayor that we've started the negotiations with the Department of Transport and Public Works. So we are finally seeing the light. I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you very much.
Thanks, elder lady. And since then we had 4 mayors. That's just a tongue-in-cheek comment. Please don't take that serious.
Yeah.
Councillor Kosana.
Thank you, Mayor. No, I appreciate that, Madam G. Appreciate the work of the collection that we have, the leadership of the Neisner municipality presently. She must vote with us then, going forward. Thank you.
I will definitely vote with you for this one.
Thank you, Councillor. Elder lady, please. Director Corporate Services.
Sorry, Mayor. On recommendation D, we are saying that the proposed lease agreement should be approved subject to the department taking up the building within the next 3 months. I am just worried, Mayor, about the period. We know the government processes that they take long, and should they not honor the 3 months, then it would mean that agreement is revoked. Can we reconsider, can the mayoral committee reconsider the period to at least 6 months so that they can undergo their own processes of procurement in the department. Thank you, Mayor.
I saw Councillor Krauts and I also saw Councillor Teokolo. Councillor Teokolo, your hand was first.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, I know I'm not the member of this committee, but I would support that, Chair.
I assume that you talk about the 6 months here, Councillor Krauts.
Thanks, Mayor. I also support the 6 months. However, we need to understand why we put that. We put a period there because currently the building is being vandalized and the municipality is taking accountability for the building as it is now, and also the amount of money paid to keep vir die instandhouding van die gebou. So at the end of the day, Mayor, that is why we put in that period. But if 6 months is fine, we can go with 6 months. But not later than 6 months, because at the end of the day, the municipality is occurring cost on those buildings. And if they want the building and they're serious about taking this building, then they should be taking accountability for the building.
Thank you, Councillor Kraus, Councillor Wasserman, and then Councillor Zalaas, and then we conclude this item.
Thanks. I dropped my hand because I'm covered. I agree that 6 months is better. Thank you.
Councillor Zalaas.
Thank you, Mayor. Nam Mayor, no, they support 6 months, Mayor. Kodwa bakungenzeka less, ingenzeka even 3 months is fine, but 6 months you can stand there for security. Thanks, Mayor.
May I also support the 6 months, even if it's lesser, but I also support the 6 months. It's reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lasse. So, councillors, members of the Mayoral Committee, that we agree with the recommendations with the amendment on D within the next 6 months. Are we happy with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Lasse. Just your hand is still up. Councillor Selassie?
Oh, sorry, Mayor, I say old hands.
Okay, thank you. Let's continue. We agree on that, councillors. Then on page 39, item submitted to the Community Service Committee meeting. There's a, I don't know what is happening here. We already agree on page 38 with the amendments. We're now on page 39. Item submitted to the Community Service Committee meeting held on December, July 2020. C0407-2020, 2019-20 MSCOA Capital Financial Report, Performance Report as at the 31st of May. We agree to the recommendation that be noted. Councillor Krauts.
Thanks, Mayor. I just need to ask now, the item on page 53, are we going to deal with it once we finish with all the directorates, or are we going to deal with it now while we were busy with the governance part? I was just going to ask that question there, Mayor.
I'll be guided by the committee members, but I'm quite happy to deal with it at the end also. But I'll be guided by the committee if you believe we should brought it forward. I'm happy with that, but I was going to deal with it at the end before we get to the noted items.
Okay, then it's fine, Mayor. We can deal with it as you. If it is your meeting, we can deal with it then.
Okay.
I was just.
Okay.
It's fine. Thanks,
okay.
Mayor.
Thank you. So we're now on page 39. Councillor Teokolo, you will get the opportunity, and Councillor Skane, we're now on page 39. So you want? We agree with the recommendation on C407-2020.
Yes, sir.
Councillor Sana, Councillor Chengwa, you agree with that?
Yes, agree, Mayor. Fully agree.
Okay, let's move on.
Agree.
Yes, on the same page, C11-7-2020, recommendation of the acting municipal manager regarding the progress report on the establishment of a shelter for homeless people in a Greater Knysna municipal area. A, B, and C. Councillor Chengwa.
Mayor, I support the recommendation. I support.
Thank you, Councillor Deputy Mayor, Councillor Susan and Councillor Crouch.
Second, in this item C11, can the director or the chairperson be explicitly clear to me with recommendation B? Because I want to understand, is there a building that we are talking about at the Church Street? Also, when we talk about a portion, why we don't take the whole property? Because we know that we're having a challenge in Naina in terms of homeless people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Skosana, Councillor Deputy Mayor Chengwa, and then Councillor Crouch. Deputy Mayor.
All then, Speaker, Mayor. That's an all then, Speaker.
Okay, Councillor Crouch, and then I saw Councillor consent also.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. I think I agree with Councillor Skosana on this one. That maybe from property side, if they can maybe put us a picture up to show us which portion they are talking about, or so we just have a clear understanding of that one. Thanks, Mayor. Well, we're on here.
Yeah. Thank you, Elder Lady.
Thank you, Maya. Maya, in the section 80, Carl explained it to us. The portion that we are talking about is only the house in Church Street. He has specifically made the amendment to this recommendation because this means that the flats, the block of flats, are not included in this. That's why it says that be provisionally earmarked. Only a portion of that earth. But I think if Carl or maybe the manager properties is in the meeting, then she can also explain to us. But that was what was explained at the Section 80 meeting. That's why we're talking of a portion and not the whole urban. Thank you, Maya.
Before I'm going to allow the manager concern, I saw Councillor Wasserman then also.
Thanks, Mayor. I think you can solve the problem by taking out the comma. And instead of saying the, so you could say that the portion of the earth 1343, Knysna in Church Street, on which the dwelling is situated, be provisionally earmarked, because that then identifies the portion as being the portion on which the dwelling is situated. And then the way that Councillor Wolmerans has explained is then reflected in B. So instead of you say the, and you take out the comma, that the portion of the earth on which the dwelling is situated.
Councillor Wasserman, in my discussion last night with the mayoral committee, I was precisely thinking about that part because, as it quite stated there, we're not quite sure what piece of land we're talking about. But just let's have a look. I just saw on my screen that there is a recommendation. Manager, would you be able just to give us again a picture of that specific piece of land on which the house is being situated? If you're in a position to do that, please do that. If not, then we can...
Sorry, Mayor, thank you. Can you see the screen?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yes. So the dwelling in question is the one that I'm showing with my cursor. And as Councillor Wasserman has just stated, it is the dwelling that is earmarked for a homeless shelter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Manager. So therefore, Mayoral Committee, if we take out the comma, that's why I love all these linguists in council, it will then address the specifics here, because I think the concern was the specific. What are we talking about? A piece of vacant land? What piece of land would we talk about? So it's fine. So then, if we are in agreement with...
Sorry, Mayor. You must take out the comma and you put in the word the instead of the word a. That the portion of the earth on which the dwelling is situated.
Thank you, Councillor Wasserman. Okay, now I will read it to you. That the portion of earth 1343, Knysna in Church Street, on which the dwelling is situated, be provisionally earmarked for a homeless shelter. Is that correct? Councillors, did you hear me?
Loud
No,
and clear.
you're not saying that you must take out that comma after 1343.
No, man, Councillor Skosana. Let me read it again to you. It will be that the portion of earth 1343, nice now, the comma must remain there, sir. Nice now in Church Street, another comma there, Councillor Skosana, on which the dwelling is situated. Then you take out that comma, Councillor Skosana, be provisionally earmarked for a homeless center. So it's shelter. And see. Is that now clear, Councillor Skosana?
Malda, Chair.
Okay, members of the committee, you are in agreement. Councillor Matika, nou man, jy gaan net met die Engels kan verbeter jou maat, with all due respect to you.
You can't better my English, with all due respect.
Hey, Mayor.
Members of the committee, are we happy with the recommendation
Sorry,
there?
Mayor, I was just disturbed. Someone just disturbed me in here. Just wanted to check, man, on that dwelling, because I know it's I don't know how must I put my English, historical buildings. So in terms of historical building, there are not many changes you can make. Just want to check, is that space, is that house big enough for this shelter, or are we going to build on that ground at the back some more rooms? Or yeah, just want to check, man. Sorry I was disturbed, maybe it was answered, but I was a little bit disturbed because someone came here in the office. Thank you.
Is there any person that will be able to address the concerns raised by Councillor Matika? As you heard him saying, he might be concerned about the size of the house and whether the current size would be able to accommodate all these homeless people, firstly. Taking into consideration the fact that it's an historical building, that you might not be able to do much changes to that piece of property, and therefore you might need to build a second dwelling on the piece of property. Are there anybody within administration that can give an answer to that? Director Community Services?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I think that is exactly the reason why that wording is so important, because it means that should the building not be able to accommodate everybody, that whole piece portion at the back of the vacant land can also be utilized. We're looking at different options at this point in time, and also containerized solutions for setting up the homeless shelter. So it will just give us an opportunity to utilize that whole portion of land, even at the back of where the existing house is. Specifically because we do understand it's a historical building, so we might not be able to make a lot of renovations in terms of that.
Thank you, Director. I hope, Councillor Matika, that your concern is now being addressed. Elder Lady Wolmerans, last person on this.
Chair, yes, thank you. I think it was made clear now by everybody, so I think all of us do understand what is happening here. So I am comfortable with the answers that was given. Thank you, Chairperson. Maya.
Thank you. Therefore, members of the committee, we agree with the recommendation as amended.
Agreed, Mayor. Agreed.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Okay, let's move to page 40. Now, this could be very quickly because it's just reports. Let's start on F1, F2, F3, F4, F5 on page 40. Members of the committee, are we all in agreement with those recommendations there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other member of the committee that wants to agree to that or not agree?
Agree, Mayor.
Okay. So we've dealt with the whole of page 40 met een klap. Okay, thank you very much. Then on page 41, there's the quarterly budget statement ending March 2020. Are we in agreement with the recommendation there, councillors?
Yes, sir. We are in agreement.
The following item 7/7/2020, the outstanding debt report for quarter ending March 2020. agreeing with the recommendation there? Yes, slaap julle.
Agree, Mayor, we agree.
Agreed, number one.
Agree.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on. Number F0807-2020, quarter withdrawal report. Agreeing with that one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. A and B. There's a recommendation and B there. Then the next one, summary of external loans, quarter 3 of 2020, F97-2020. Agreeing with the recommendation there?
Agreed.
Okay, F10, summary of investments, quarter 3 of 2020. Be noted. Agreeing with that one?
Yes,
Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Then the following, F11, F12, F13, F14.
Agreed.
Agree on that one? On those 4, 1, 2, 3, 4? Thank you.
Agreed.
Okay, then still on page 42, F1507-2020. There's an A, B, and C. Are we in agreement with that one?
Yes, sir.
Just on C before we continue. It's stated there that the focus areas as per report mentioned in A above, and that is now the third quarter revenue enhancement strategy report on page 31, way forward, as well as the risk register on page 21 be implemented as such. I just want to inform members that that report was the report that served in front of the Finance Committee meeting. So it can sometimes be misleading because then you need to ask, but where is the report? That report is the report in A that was submitted to the Finance Committee meeting. Just asked to understand that quite clearly. Okay, agreement with the recommendation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we move to 16/7/2020 in-year monitoring report by Provincial Treasury, quarter 2 of 2019-20, that the in-year monitoring report from Provincial Treasury for the quarter ending December 2019 be noted. Agree to that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we move on to 17/7/2020. Capital budget report 19/20 as at June 2020.
You have hands, sir.
BNC?
Yes, sir.
Councillor Wasserman, I see your hand.
Thanks, Mayor. I think if Councillor Krauts can also just confirm, there was one item when we were discussing these reports in the committee, the directors from the relevant sections were not available for us to interrogate the capital expenditure, and it was agreed that those things would be discussed in the MACO. So I just wanted to remind Councillor Krauts that that needs to be done. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Krauts.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks, Councillor Wasserman. Councillor Wasserman. The report detailed in this one is the capital budget report. However, when I spoke to the CFO, the report is available for today, but the report wasn't available yet for the MACO to discuss. I think we were also in our committee a little bit confused because we were talking about the monthly budget statement for June when we were actually supposed to have in the meeting the capital budget report. However, in my discussions with the CFO, the report was not available during that time. It is available at this stage, but we, as a MACO, we haven't seen the report as of yet. So I would ask the MACO if that report can go to the Section 80 in the next meeting, which should be in 2 weeks' time.
Can I just ask a question? It doesn't mean any purpose if you're just having it at their stage. Why don't we send that report just straight to council? Councillor Krauts, that's my question to you.
No, we can do that if the report can be made available on our agendas. so that each councillor has the opportunity to actually scrutinize it.
Councillor Tiokolo, I saw your hand.
Thanks, Mayor. I'm not sure whether I follow Councillor Krauts, but I think what Councillor Wasserman is raising here is the different directorates. At the meeting, the directors were not there. I think there was some meeting, but the directors were not there to answer on their specific directorates of their capital project. I think that's what Councillor Wasserman is raising here, Chairperson. So the reports are on the agendas of the Section 80 that we've got, the finance agenda that we've got. So, but on the MACO, as it is said before, that we should read these resolutions with our Section 80 agendas. Thanks, Chair.
Mayor?
Sorry,
Sorry, Mayor, I just need to tell Councillor Tiokolo that in the committee we asked for an updated report, which means that we were going to get the June report, an updated report of June, not the one of May. That is what we basically asked for, Tiokolo.
Councillor Cross, thank you very much. I think you should deal your problems in your committee and finalize it there. Just the following. My understanding, Councillor Wasserman, I want to get back to you, was the issue of the fact that the report that Councillor Crouch now referred to, which he discussed with the CFO, got nothing to do with the concern raised in that committee, and that is that some of the directors or directorates were not there to respond to questions pertaining to capital expenditure. As you and Councillor Tiokolo, if that is the case, then we can deal with it on a different basis. Councillor Tiokolo?
Exactly, Mayor. That's what I think you've captured it correctly. That's what, there's two parts to it. There's Councillor Krauts that she's mentioning. We're not talking about that. But the capital projects that Councillor Wasserman is talking about, that's what we're talking about here. Thanks, Chair. I think you've captured it correctly.
Wasserman, just to make sure that the intention of that committee, Councillor Krauts, also was then those directors that were not present at that meeting to respond to that capital expenditure. They need to respond at this meeting.
Mayor, yes, what happened was that you called an urgent meeting to do with COVID, and the directors of infrastructure and community services were called into that meeting. So, and the CFO was very direct with us and said that the committee has a responsibility to interrogate the capital expenditure because there seems to be a problem. But what he also added on, and which is what Councillor Krauts said, is that he can give an updated report to the MACO for June. But in the light of the fact that we don't have that report, Mayor, I think that it's what we have in front of us then is the Mayor report. And that is, I think, what the directors should speak on with the capital expenditure. Thank you.
Before I make my ruling in this regard, CFO, I saw your hand.
Thank you, Chair. Just a correction. Councillor Wasserman is correct, except that the updated report was supposed to go to the 16th July meeting for the Section 80. So the report goes to Section 80 first before it goes to MACO. So I would take it that if the report is presented now, the MACO can agree that the updated report must go straight to council next week because it is updated, so that it's interrogated there in terms of the total spending. Remember the report that went to Section 80 had, I think, about 58% spending, and that's what Councillor Krauts was asking. Why is it too low? Is it because we're closed on COVID-19? So the updated report can be sent today, and then it can be discussed in council. If Councillor Krauts, you so agree, then it does not have to wait for the next Section 80 meeting.
CFO, thank you. That was precisely going to my guidance in this regard. It doesn't help anything to go back to an older report of May. Get the total updated report. Councillor Ngeso, I saw your hand. Get an updated report, send it straight to council and interrogate that report in council. Full stop. That's easy way to do this thing. So we just need to change the recommendation But before doing that, Councillor Nezu.
That is a very old hand, Mayor. That hand is very, very old.
An old name, too old to remember. Okay, let's get back to the recommendation then. Stick with A, stick with B, delete C, and then ask that an updated report on capital expenditure sent to council for discussion. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Mayor?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can I just make a suggestion? Because what I've noticed is sometimes when Mako says that something must go to a council meeting, it only appears in 3 months' time. So to be specific about the fact that it should come to the council meeting to be held, I think, what is the date of the council meeting? On the 30th of July.
Councillor Wasserman, you remember my comment right at the beginning about these accusations. I hope you got proof to that accusation that things that the mayoral committee asked to be sent to council only appears within 3 months. If that is the case,
yes.
then we need to deal with the mayoral committee or with administration that allow this to happen. But okay, I'm happy with that. To the next council meeting. Quite clear. So at the next council meeting, there would be an updated capital expenditure report, which is then debated and interrogated by councillors. Are you happy with that, Councillor Walmerens?
Councillor Wasserman.
Sorry, Councillor Wasserman. Councillor Wasserman. Are you happy with Councillor Wasserman?
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor, so then we stick with A, with B, we delete C and replace C with a updated report on capital expenditure for the year end 30th of June, submitted to the next ordinary council meeting for debate and discussion. Happy with that? Members of the committee? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. F19/7/2020 report on the implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period ending 30th of March. There's A, B, and C. Are we in agreement with that? Members of the committee?
Agreed, sir.
Yes,
Agreed,
okay, thank you. Then we move to 27/2020 report on the deviations for COVID-19 period. Just some clarity here, and I've asked this to the chairperson of the portfolio. We've got a certain procedure, CFO, and I want you to listen now, that we follow when we deal with the issue of deviations. We will note the report, we will identify the amount that has been deviated, and we will set that in C normally as the previous item, that it be made available to the public in terms of section 21A. Shouldn't we do this in the same manner that we've done the previous one? CFO?
We will do that. It's given, Chair. We will we'll have to make it public. It's not a choice. It's a matter that we have to make it public. So we'll have to make it public.
And looking at the recommendations, which is on page 44, we need to amend it. Having an A, it was stated quite clearly that we noted the report on the deviation during COVID-19 period be noted. B, we will therefore that the deviations to the value of the amount that is applicable, I'm not quite sure, CFO, what is the amount for the period that be noted. And then C, that the report mentioned in A above be made available to the public in terms of section 21A. Should that be the process that we follow here? And that should be the recommendation, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we can keep it like that, sir.
Okay. Well, let's see, what is the figure that we're talking about just quickly? You have the figure there, the number, the amount? Councillor Crouch?
Oh, the amount is 86,100 and yeah, it is 60 86,000. It is there in the agenda.
Okay.
But it is that amount of 86,000 on page 499.
Okay, on your finance committee agenda. So that amount will then be part of the B recommendation. Members, are all happy with that? Committee members?
Happy chair, happy chair, happy chair.
Okay, thank you. Now, Councillor, it's not your turn yet. Let me just see. We now item submitted on page 45 to the Infrastructure Service Committee meeting. There were none. Then on page 46, items submitted to the Planning and Development Committee meeting held on the 9th of July. There were none. Those are the items for noting. Then we are on page 47. Items submitted to the Integrated Human Settlements Committee held on the 16th of July 2020. First one will be IHS 0107-2020. Report on Integrated Human Settlement status of NISA housing projects for the third quarter financial year 1920. There's a recommendation A, B, and C. Any questions, any concerns which you need to raise? If not, can I just get some clarity on the B there, because it could be to some extent, and again, my language capability might be different than yours, that the breach of contract claim be concluded timeously to enable housing delivery in line with the business plan. I'm a bit concerned about we just make a reference to that the breach of contract claim. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about here. Councillor Skosana, and then I see Mr. David Duenas. Councillor Skosana, you first, and then Mr. David Duenas.
Thank you, sir. Mine will be at C. I think that process, I'm very happy about it. I think we should honor it. And I think the manager
just Councillor Skosana, my comment, just hang on there. Let's we first deal with the B one there, then we get to the C, yours. B, Mr. David Duenas. The chairperson, sorry, Mr. Duenas, the chairperson, the deputy mayor first.
No, number one, thank you very much. I think, Chair, let's allow the director to deal with it. I was going to speak on the one which was raised by Councillor Skosana. Yeah, so we can allow the director to just elaborate more there. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Mr. David Duenas.
Mayor, good morning, councillors, MM and directors. The issue there is that the small contractors litigate against the municipality with regards to an agreement or appointment, and this recommendation refers to that. We are waiting now for a summons to put ourselves in a position to see how we can amicably resolve this issue and see if we can come to an agreement with regards to that. So at this point in time, there's litigation against us, and all that the committee alluded to, that the administration also from outside try to resolve this issue, because this has a ripple effect in terms of vandalization, in terms of other two contracts that is reliant on the conclusion of this. So this is what that item refers to.
Mr. Duenas, there was some problem with the audio there, but it's fine. I think councillors follow what you're trying to explain. I was just a bit concerned when you look at the B there, it's just so generalized and so vague that you're not quite sure what breach of contract claim we're talking about here. But Director, if that recommendation is clear to all of us, I'll abide by it. But for a layman, member of the public, reading B, it could be very confusing to understand what we are talking about here. We that know probably know what we're talking about here as a council, but these are for public information also. So when you've got a recommendation like that, it could be open for questions. Sorry, Dr. Skip.
Mr. Mayor, I think what we can do, and I agree with you, we need to be quite clear in our recommendations and in your resolutions ultimately. So we can improve that to read as follows: that the breach of contract claim instituted by the small contractors on contract, and then we note the correct contract number, be concluded timelessly, so that we have the correct details there. So I would recommend that we change the recommendation to that, the way I've said it now.
Okay, I saw hands. I think that hand is still on C. Members of the committee, are you happy with that? The B part.
No, I'm happy. You're right. MM for rupee.
Agree. We're happy with the way MM is putting it for B.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Deputy Mayor. You happy with it? With the B part?
No, Chairperson, I'm very happy. I'm very happy, Chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So we'll do it that way. That will add to that specific, and then I just hope that Carl and the administration got the full gist of what the MM just told us. I hope all of you got it. Carl, you got it? That's Carl, Lisa. Seems to me that Carl is not on the meeting. Jill, but you got what MM asked us to insert there?
We've got it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Somebody is awake in the Directorate. Okay, C. Councillor Skosana, Councillor Chengwa. On C.
Which one first? Should I start?
You start, sir.
Look, I'm afraid to protocol. Share mine is very simple, is on C, and I appreciate the way it was put. But also, of course, khumbula ukuthi ba lenhlanganiso ibihlelile vekupheleyo ngolosini, and there's a line there in that paragraph which says that what councillors within the next 2 weeks to discuss within the next 2 weeks. And we must remember our section 80, this recommendation is coming from last week on Tuesday. And it means that, if I'm not mistaken, the meeting was on Tuesday. It means that by this Thursday, it's already a week. Then we are left with 1 week for this discussion, because there are challenges and we are willing to work hand in gloves with the department. I appreciate the way they put it. Thank you, sir.
Councillor Kosana translated his Kosa line. Thank you. No, Councillor Kosana translated his Kosa line. Thank you, Chair.
Just in short, Councillor Kosana, just remember, this 2 weeks only start when the resolution is there. So when the moment we agree on that, then the 2 weeks start. Councillor Chengwa, Deputy Mayor.
No, Chairperson, thank you very much, man. I've just noted the concern raised by Councillor Skosana. I think in response to that, Chair is quite correct. This meeting was held last week, Thursday, and we have resolved, and from where I'm sitting, we are committed to implement this specific resolution, to meet with councillors, ward councillors individually. And I can indicate to say, Chair, starting from tomorrow, we are starting in Ward 1, Ward 2, and Ward 5. So next week, the director will engage ward councillors of these different wards, which we are going to visit. So in actual fact, we are starting Councillor Skosana. We don't have time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Executive Deputy Mayor. As councils can see, that the portfolio councils do take their job seriously. Thank you, Deputy Mayor. So then, councils, going back to the recommendation A, B, and C, we agree to that with the amendments on B. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And can the department send us that program, that schedule? Thank you.
Yeah, Bo. Okay, thank you, councillors. 3/7/2020 housing business plan. There's a recommendation there that it be noted. We agree on that.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Then we go on page 48. 48. Item submitted to the Special Financial and Corporate Services Committee held on the 16th of July. Application for the leasing, and that is FG 0107-2020. Application for the leasing of a portion of 255 Neisner for farming purposes. There's a recommendation A, B, C, and D. Councillors, any comment? Or do we agree all on the recommendation as it's in front of us?
Yes, sir.
I only heard Councillor Kraut. Councillor Kusani, your hand.
Before I agree, I just want to understand. This is not properties that we were earmarking for farming in general for Neisner.
Councillor Chengwa, do you want to respond to that before I give the opportunity to other officials and council, to other council and officials to Councillor Chengwa?
No, Chairperson, Chair, look, I think let's give over to the officials to deal with it. Thank you.
Okay, there's a question by Councillor Skosana, Mr. David Dunas. Mr. Dunas, I saw your hand.
Number one.
Councillor Cheng,
sorry, man. Sorry. I must apologies. Number one, I thought we were on page 48. Can Councillor Skosana just repeat that question? I did not capture it well. Sorry, Chair, I must apologize.
Deputy Mayor, we're dealing now with item FG 017-2020 on page 48. That is the one, application for the leasing of a portion of 255 Neisner for farming purposes. So there was a question raised by Councillor Skosana whether going ahead with this recommendation, does that have an influence on the council's commitment to provide a land for farming purposes? That was the question. Administration, are you in a position to respond to that? My view, it's not. This is for a specific lease of land, which at this moment council will not be able to utilize for the purpose of farming, but council is still busy embarking on a process to provide farmland for those farmers, small farmers that need assistance. Mr. Dunas, your hand was up.
Speaking of Mayor, that's our own hand, sorry.
Is there any official that want to respond to the question of Councillor Skosana? I'm quite clear in understanding. As a council, we're still committed to provide farming land to our small farmers. But the request for this specific land, this one was not agreed to by the committee. That's I understand it.
Yes, you've covered it. You've covered it, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Tukolo. So I need to understand, Councillor Skosana, that the recommendation here is quite clear. We're talking about a portion of 255. Your concern is in general about council's commitment towards providing a farmland for the small farmers. Councillor Skosana?
Thank you, number one. Since the director doesn't want to speak, Chair, and I'll take your explanation regarding this. Yes, you captured me correctly, because we've been having farmers who have been complaining to us as a municipality because they are stuck. We've been taken to George and they need to spend money. But what you just explained to me, and then if that's the case in terms of this item, then I'll note it, I'll recommend that we move. And also, I'm very disappointed that there's no director that can take us into confidence.
Mayor, sorry to interject. I can't, for some or other reason, raise my hand.
Go ahead. I think Councillor Skosana is Finnish manager.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, you would recall that there was a discussion at the Community Services Section 80 some time ago. The issue with regards to small farmers has been discussed, and Nonhlanhla has been in meetings with the chairperson for community services with regards to that. We have now received the list of small farmers, and we've had engagements with the Department of Agriculture on this as well. The land that has potentially been identified by the small farmers is in the Windheuwel area, Councillor Skosana, and we are looking into the viability of that portion of land. And hopefully now that we've received the list of names of small-scale farmers, together with the number of livestock that they have, we can take this matter forward. But there is continuous discussions with regards to small-scale farmers, and a portion of land has been identified that we are looking into the viability thereof.
Manager, thank you very much. Councillor Skosana, I hope that answers your question. Just remember, this got nothing to do with the specific item. But I think it's important, that at the next community services, we've put on the agenda that information as an item that have been provided by the manager legal services. Okay, let's continue with the one in front of us. Councillor Skosana.
Ek moet sê baie dankie to my lawyer, to Miss Thuli. Dankie, ek waardeer dit wat jy gedoen het vir my nou. Baie dankie.
Thank you. I appreciate what you've done and your response. Thank you.
Yeah, your lawyer. Okay, let's continue. Council, we agree on A, B, C, and D?
We agree.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Chengwa, just wise your hands up. Deputy Mayor. Deputy Mayor, put down your hand, please, man. Okay. Still on page 48, there is an application. That's item 57-2020, application to purchase Sabbaty Road alongside Earth 13066 Naisna. The recommendation A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Are we all in agreement with that recommendation? Councillor Matika.
Thank you, Mayor. I think I will not make any justice. I agree with the recommendation, but I just want to have a comment on this. In terms of our DTP valuers, I think we need seriously to look into that, to them. So, sorry, we need to look seriously to
Matika, just wait, man. There are some people making background noise there in your office or where you're sitting. Can you just ask them to be quiet, please, man?
Yeah, I just spoke with Councillor Noise. Sorry, Mayor. Mayor, I was saying that in terms of our DTP valuers, we need seriously to look into them, because I don't think that they are doing a satisfactory or a correct valuation in terms of other markets or in other properties in terms of municipality. Because if you check the application led from the applicant is willing to pay around 270, and that portion is in town, in the CBD, where there is infrastructure, where there is everything, where there is development. And then our valuer are valuing the property at about 14,000 here in town. But in terms of in northern areas, they value some properties about 60,000, about 30,000, an open land where there is no infrastructure, where there are no roads, where there is nothing. So, Mayor, I'm saying that our DTP value, there's something that is not sitting well with me. We need to check and look in terms of how are they valuing our properties and our land. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Matika. CFO, I think you heard the concern raised by Councillor Matika. I think it's not the first time that came up. At one stage, we as a council just need to sit down and discuss property valuation and evaluation role, and whether we are still happy with what is presented to council when it comes to the value of property. So that's just general comment. It's not going to be part of the recommendation, but thank you very much, Councillor Matika. I know that both the and other directors, specifically the CFO, heard your concern, which was not the first time that it was raised in a meeting. Thank you very much. Council, we agree on the recommendations? Okay, thank you. Let's move on.
Yes.
Items for noting. Now, my good old friend, Councillor Teokolo, can I please ask you to raise that concern again before we get into noting items?
Thank you, Chairperson. No, Chair, I was raising item. Let me just go to this item quickly. I think it's page 53. No. Yeah, page 53. It's item G14 stroke 07 stroke 2020, Chair. It's the report on the staff housing policy. If you look at the recommendation there, it clearly states that the report on the staff housing policy be referred to the Mayoral Committee meeting for consideration. So my concern was having this item under items that are supposed to be for noting, not for consideration. So my proposal at that stage, Chair, was that we discuss this item in the items that are for consideration in the MACO. So I think you ruled that, look, we will discuss this. You've had a conversation with the chairperson. So that's what I was raising, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Teokolo. I think in my discussion with the chairperson of the portfolio, I've raised the same thing. Chairperson Kraut.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, the reason for this report being referred to the Mayoral Committee meeting is that when the committee was busy discussing and debating this issue, there was no one from IHS to give us answers on this report. And the thinking was that when we come to a Mayoral Committee meeting, that the Integrated Human Settlements Department would be part of this meeting to give us answers on this report.
Just to enlighten Councillor Teokolo, there's nothing wrong with the resolution. It's just the fact that the report is not in front of Council. And for that, we need to get an answer. Can you just give an answer why this report is not in front of the Mayoral Committee as requested by a resolution by the committee?
Mayor, I can answer that. The report is in front of the Mayoral Committee. The report was sent to the Governance Committee, Finance and Governance Committee, the report on staff housing, a report from Director Corporate Services, the purpose for the report, background. It is in our agenda. Now, we need to take this report out of our governance agenda and bring it then into the MACO meeting. Because as the MACO agenda currently is, you must work with your agenda that was originally sent for the Section 80s in conjunction with your mayoral agenda. So the report is there. It took me a while to understand what Director Corporate was explaining, but I got it. That the report is there. I just need to emphasize that, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Teokolo and Mr. Lapsa.
Yes, Chair, I would like to agree with the both of you, Chair, even though you were asking why is it here. Yeah, the report, Chair, is, as it's been said in the agenda, that we should read the MACO in conjunction with the Section 81. But I also think if an item, for an example, was not considered totally at the Section 80, then we should have it at the MACO as an item. So, but yeah, we do have it in the Section 80 agenda, Chair, but yeah, just wanted to say that.
Then, members of the committee, can we agree that we brought this as an item? There are two ways that you can deal. We can discuss it now, but there's also at the back of item number 9, item submitted directly to the executive mayor. We can deal with it there, or even under 10, report submitted directly to the mayoral committee. So there is a item on the agenda where we can discuss it. I believe it should therefore be discussed under number 10, reports submitted directly to the mayoral committee. Are we in agreement to that?
We agree with that, Mayor, as long as this item will be discussed. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
It will be discussed, but we need to find a place where we can actually discuss it. There has been made provision on the agenda for an item called report submitted directly to the mayoral committee, and I believe we should discuss it there because that report is now directly coming to the committee. Councillor Theokola, you agree with me? I know that.
No, Chair, I wouldn't agree. My worry, my concern with that, Mayor, is that it wouldn't give a true reflection of what happened with this item. So if an item has been submitted directly to the MACO, it means that it never went to the Section 80. So that's not going to give a true reflection if you follow the item. That's my concern, Chair.
Right, now listen, I'm open for suggestions. Councillor Wasserman, let's not dwell too much on this. I think the intention is to discuss it. If the committee members feel, and I'm going to give you a chance, Councillor Wasserman, if the committee feels it's been now discussed immediately here, then it's fine with me. Members of the committee, you've read the report.
Raise my hand.
Who's that? I only seen Councillor Crouch here.
Osana.
Okay, Councillor Osana, you agree with me therefore. Let's discuss it here.
Yeah, let's discuss it here because you say that be referred to this meeting. Let's discuss it here. That's my English of President Dala. Be referred to.
Okay. Thank you. Councillors, you've read the report. The report was submitted to the Section 80 committee meeting. It's now been referred to as an item, and therefore it would probably be then item number, Carl and Joe. The last item is FG0507-2020. So it was an item I therefore assumed that was on the normal. You see, that's the problem I've got with all these things because you now need to find an item number for that. Councillor Kreis, you got an item number for that?
The original item number is G1407-2020. That is the original number of the item. G1407-2020.
2020.
But you have the acting MM's hand up there, Mayor.
Ek het nie dit, ek kan net jou hand hier voor my het ek net jou hand. Acting MM?
Mayor, no, what I wanted to say is I was never a centre in my young days, but I want to take a gap here. I think there's a need for us to have a workshop with the councillors about the structure of our committee meetings and how we eventually get items from portfolio committees to the council and also participation in all these meetings. So I want to just take the gap and say that we need that urgently because things like this situation could have been avoided if we get the structure right. I think our structure is not optimal at this moment. Let me put it like that. So I will speak to the speaker to arrange that for us ASAP. Thank you, Mayor.
Liewe, jy het nie veel gehelp nie. Ek wil weet wat die item nommer gee ons vir die norma, because we should discuss it as an item.
Councillor Crouch gave us the item number. I thought that was.
Okay, so we should use that item number.
Yeah.
Okay, councillors, item number G1407-2020 would therefore be the discussion on the report on the staff housing policy. Discussion for consideration. Councillor Crouch, will you start the discussion?
Thanks, Mayor. I would like to give the Department of Properties to give councillors an overview on this item. Since not all the councillors have the item in front of them. Thank you, Mayor.
Is the department in a position to do that?
Yes, Mayor, we can.
Can you please go ahead then, ma'am?
Okay. What the council or the mayoral committee has in front of them is the report on the staff housing policy. The reason for this is for Municipal Council to review this policy. The background is an item had served on the ordinary council meeting on the status of releasing of municipal properties to municipal staff. What was resolved on that council meeting was that the current situation with regards to leasing needed to be reviewed and a full report needed to be submitted to the Governance and Economic Development meeting and on options including possible sale of properties. And then next one, while this review is being conducted, no further leases needed to be extended. What happened further to that, there was, during the review process, it was found that with there was a creation of a new integrated human settlements directorate. Municipal Council considered the function of staff rental housing to be moved to integrated housing section or human settlements. That included all the flats that we are currently with properties. So now it was resolved that those flats would move to IHS. What has happened is, if those flats now are moved to IHS, it would mean that properties will be left with 5 houses, in fact 4 houses, and subsequently that would mean that there won't be any revenue coming in from those flats if that is indeed moved to IHS. So what we are recommending, what we've done now, we've reviewed the staff housing policy, noting that the flats are with IHS now. What we've done on the policy is we've reviewed the extension of the lease period. There's the removal of the flats from the policy, and then there's the application procedure when applying for the extension, and the composition of the allocation committee. What we are recommending to the council is that we are requesting that the Westview Court and Protea Terrace be removed from IHS social housing program and let it remain with properties with the intention of us either keeping the houses and leasing out to municipal staff on market value, or consider scrapping the housing policy as a whole and consider revenue enhancement by leasing municipal houses and flats to the public at market-related rentals. The recommendation therefore says that we are requesting the removal of municipal flats except Westview Court and Protea from the provision of staff housing policy, that it be approved, and that the amendments made to the provision of staff housing policy be also approved. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. The MM, I saw your hand.
Oh, sorry, old answer, sorry.
Okay, councillors, in simple, the first part would be,
yes, David?
Councillor Teokolo.
Mayor?
Before you continue, just hang on, hang on.
Restructuring social housing en nou, ek dink dit is
Who's talking here? Who's talking?
Davie, is Davie.
It's Davie, Meyer, it's Davie.
Okay, can I? Ma'am, just mute people till I ask them to speak. Can I just get clarity here? There was this report now from
Come back, Mayor.
Mayor also muted now.
Can't hear
So,
the
yeah,
mic.
I see that Louis just muted myself also. Muted. Thank you, Mr. Acting MM. Just coming back. Just coming back. We've already now received the report from the manager property. Now, there were two other officials that want to contribute before I'm giving councillors the opportunity to discuss it so that they get a holistic view. It will be there for now, the manager legal services, if you want to contribute to that information, and then the director, the acting director, integrated human settlements. Melanie?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to give a little bit of background as to what gave rise to the policy being reviewed, councillors would recall that some time ago the council resolved to not extend the current rentals any further. To give effect to that, the property section gave notice to the relevant officials in execution of that resolution. That is when council asked for that item to come back. Now, the reason why Nonhlanhla has in the report also highlighted the challenges that we are facing with now is council's adoption of a housing strategy, which conflicts with the staff housing policy. And that is why at the previous meeting in the section 80, councillors asked or commented on the vagueness of what is contained in the report. And we explained why it is the item is written in a sort of open-ended fashion because of the discrepancies and the conflicts between the staff housing policy, the current structure for properties within corporate services, and the housing strategy that council has adopted. And as together with the notice given to staff currently occupying the properties, as well as the resolution of council not to extend their leases any further. Just to give council a bit of background as to why the report is written in these broad terms, because following that resolution, we found ourselves in this very tricky situation, which legal and properties has now tried to resolve in making the amendments to the policy.
Thank you, Manager. Mr. Dwinus? Dawie, hou vast. As iets fout aan met jou ding is, man. There's something wrong with your audio there. It's breaking up. Just try again. Dawie, no, Mr. Dwinus, sorry. There's something wrong there with your audio. You're breaking up seriously. If somebody just can assist Mr. Dwinus in that regard. In the meantime, Councillor Teokola, I saw your hand.
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I'm very worried now that the acting director, AHS, is unable to come in here. But if there's hands, Chair, after me, can you maybe take those and maybe because I really want to hear what he's going to say. And then after that, because I also want to put proposals on the table. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Teokolo. Director, Travia Dunas. Try again, sir.
Mayor?
Yes, Melanie.
I have Dawie on the phone and he has asked that he can't connect, his connection is very bad. But he has requested that this whole item be referred back to the administration and the policy so that we can have a look at it.
Melanie, I didn't get the reasons for that. There must be a very good reason that Mr. Dunas wants this to be taken back to the committee.
Mayor, he's going to try and connect again. I've lost him on the phone now as well. He says he's just going to try and connect again and see if we can get into, because where he is, his connection is very bad.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Kosana?
Mayor. Thank you, Chair. I was also going to want to listen to the acting director since he's new, because we must remember as a meeting that this was a plan of the former director who wanted to take these properties to housing. Now I wanted to listen to him. What is his view since he is now in charge? But I will ask you, Mayor, let's give him that opportunity to listen to him, take it back and wait for them. But I hope he will be back with it before, because we don't have time. I'm worried because siyaqhekeza ezinye zezi flats phaa edolophini ngabafana abahlala edolophini.
Some of these flats get vandalized by the young boys in town.
Because okwesibini asinayo nemali ke kule dolophu, ezinye zingasinceda kuba sibe nengeniselo engenayo engxoweni yethu.
And also, we don't have enough money in this town. It can also help us the revenue so that we can have some finance in our coffers.
Kodwa ke andifuna umvalela phandle ke because usanda ungena eofisini kunye nosihlalo wakhe bebanalo icebo abazozana letafuleni siqhubeni basimphe ithuba ndiyacela.
But I think let's give him an opportunity with his chair so that he can submit his report. So let's give him an opportunity so that we don't close him outside and hear his views. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kosana. I saw 3 hands here. I see actually 3 hands. It's Councillor Gombo, Councillor Teokolos, and they're still up. And then there's a +22 hand on the other side also, which I'm not quite sure who that hand belongs to.
Matika,
Oh, Councillor Matika. Could be your and Councillor Matika. But before going there, can we see if we got hold here now? So it's Councillor Matika and then the MM also. Can we try to get hold of Mr. Dunas again quickly? See if he's there. Mr. Dunas?
Mr. Dunas, can I speak on Mr. Dunas' behalf? He spoke to me.
I was going to get now to
earlier.
you, Louis. I was going to get now to MM.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, there were obvious shortcomings that were identified after the initial decision that was made. So there's a need for the different departments to get together to make sure that they provide a proper recommendation to council, so that there is what was initially intended to be achieved can be reviewed, but that we also look at the things that the property section and legal has identified now. The whole question about, whether these units should not be used as a revenue raising mechanism, and then also the matter of ensuring that we do not lose these assets through vandalism. So that is why Mr. Aduna said there's a need for us to refer the matter back so that there can be more discussion and a better recommendation can come to council.
Thank you, Mr. The Acting MM. Councillors, seeing that all of you want to listen to the Acting Director, Integrated Human Settlements, his suggestion coming from both the MM and the legal manager is that we refer this back to the Section 80 Committee for a full comprehensive report where he will actually submit his reasons and his contributions towards that item. Councillor Gombo, you didn't speak yet. And then I think if Mr. Dunas is not available, the committee then need to take a decision in that regard. Speaker.
Can you give me a bite after her then?
Speaker, continue. Speaker, continue. I'll get to Councillor Teokolo.
It's called the speaker, not her.
Councillor Krauts, please. Speaker. It seems that we lost now the speaker also. Okay. In front of me, I've got Councillor Teokolo. I'm not quite sure.
Mayor, sorry.
Yes, Mayor. Go ahead, Councillor Gombo.
Yes, my apologies.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with what the MM is saying, but can we fast forward this report and get it in the next council meeting?
Okay, there's a suggestion, seeing that we're not going to get far with it now. The speaker asked that this could go straight to council, that report. Councillor Teokolo, I think that you want to support now. That's why we want to have a bite. Get your bite, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Chair. Now, Chair, for me, I would like, while they are trying to review all this and trying to bring a report, I'd like to throw some ideas on the table of what can be done. And I feel strongly about this. For an example, Chair, for me, I would say if I just can find out if these, the flats are suitable for an example, social housing. Number two, sell the rest for revenue. We're struggling with liquidity at this moment. I think an injection would be needed for that. And the administration maybe to develop a policy whereby new staff, you pay maybe a rent towards that, maybe for 3 to 6 months. And Chairperson, in a council meeting last year, I think it was you and me who were standing up for this, that when there is a policy of council that is supposed to be implemented, it should be implemented rigorously. And I think if that has not been implemented, Chair, there must be consequences. I also think, Chair, it also needs to be investigated as to why as this policy has not been implemented in a proper way. And maybe then refer this also to impact to investigate and hold those who are accountable to account. So those are just my ideas that I wanted to throw on the table while they're reviewing this and bringing it to council again. Thank you.
Councillor, thank you very much for your ideas. The one idea about liquidity, I think that one I might disagree. You can speak to the CFO about that part. But thanks for the ideas. Councillor Chengwa, I saw your hand, and then we need to wrap up this on the way forward.
No, thank you very much, number one. Number one, look, I must also going to really concur with with the acting MM that we refer this to the next council meeting. And as well as I've also tried to just check my director. He was trying to connect, So otherwise, I'm just going to raise those 2 points, Chairperson, Thank you. And I will propose that let's move now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. I saw a few other hands, unless those hands got 80 ish. The Deputy Mayor, just lower your hand there. Then I've got MG still on. Speaker, just lower your hand, please. So it's the Deputy Mayor and the Speaker. Councillor Kraus, I'm not quite sure whether that is a new hand. If not, can you lower your hand? And then Councillor Teokolo. If that is not a new hand, can you please then also... Okay, so now I've got still 2 hands. I want to finish these hands because hands are flicking all over my computer. Councillor Chengwa, Deputy Mayor, just if there's an old hand, sag your hand asseblief format. Then Councillor Crouch will be the last person so that we can wrap up this.
Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, I would suggest that we take this item back to the section 80. The reason is that we need all the departments now to be part who's affected in this item to give a proper report. Now, council is within 7 days. Are we going to get the report that we want within 7 days? Or is it rather better to send it then to the section 80 for the next section 80 meeting? That is just what I want to get clear here, that to give the administration enough time to actually construct a proper report. Thanks, Mayor.
Councillor Kraus, MM, is it possible to have a full report at the next council meeting in order for council to consider it and take a final decision? taking also in consideration the ideas put forward by Councillor Teokolo. Amen?
Mayor, definitely not at the 30th, the meeting for the 30th. I was assuming we're talking about the meeting after that, because definitely not for next week's meeting.
Councillors, two issues here. Number one, you've heard what the MM stated, but also understanding that this thing is now coming for a very long time. And we need to get some conclusion to this. It cannot continue for years after years, and we still up to now did not take a decision. I think this one started also in the time when Councillor Wolmerans was still the mayor. So it just gives an indication how long this item is coming on. So whilst I agree with you, MM, that we should probably not be able to have a full report at the next council meeting, we should try to take then decisions and finalize this process ASAP. I'm not quite sure I see all these hands again, but let me ask them. I saw still Councillor Skosana, or is it Councillor Salase? I also see Councillor Crouch. Please, if it's an old thing, just put it down. Take it down. Then I also see Councillor Speaker. If there's an old thing, please take it down. And Councillor Chengwa. Councillor Salase, can you continue, please?
Okay, sorry, Mayor. Mayor, man, the reason we have Section 80 each and every month, we try to speed up the items. I support the items, we must go straight to the Section 80. It's good now, the Section 80 is not taking 3 months. We're sitting with a monthly by monthly. I don't think it's delay any process on that. So I support the chairperson of the finance in that reason. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Salase. Speaker, you will then be the last person.
Yeah, no, thank you, Mayor. I was also going to support what MM is saying, that maybe we can have it then in the Section 80, and instead of then doing it then Section 80 Mako, and then just have another. If we have, I think we're going to have a special council meeting in between. Maybe just then take it to the first special council meeting.
Speaker, thank you very much. So, councillors, going back to the recommendation A, that we therefore under item number 14.7.2020, A, note the report, and B, that the item be referred back to the next Section 80 Committee, Governance and Finance. Is that correct? Or full report?
The full report, and if we can also then include the date of the next Section 80. Mayor.
Okay, when is that date?
Mayor, can we also just note the new committees, please? We must deal with the new committees. So not governance and finance.
That is it. Praat, broer.
Finance and corporate.
We must now determine whether it's a corporate matter, whether it's a housing matter. That's the decision that we must make. But let's take it to the Corporate Services Committee, Finance and Corporate Services, and housing will make their inputs there.
Looking at the item itself, it's talking about reporting the housing policy. That is the original item. So I assume policy is supposed to go then to
corporate services. Yeah.
Corporate services. To the next Corporate Services Committee meeting. Members, are you in agreement with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, Chair.
Okay. Let's move on. Councillors, we've dealt with that one. Thank you, Councillor Teokolo, for your... Let me not go there. Let me rather put it very clever mind. Councillors, the next items is just basically resolutions. This mayoral committee is not in a position to change those resolutions. So all the items from page 50 up to, that's quite clear now, up to 63 64 included, 65 included. So all items from page 50 till 65, that the committee just note those items. Are we in agreement to that? Unless...
Yes, sir.
Unless MMU said that I have to go through all these items, I don't think it's necessary because it's already resolutions. The committee can just note it. Are the committee happy with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Then I didn't receive any new, we're now on page 66. I did not receive any new items that were directly submitted to the office of the executive mayor. Neither did I receive any reports submitted directly to the mayoral committee. Neither did I receive any matter submitted by the acting municipal manager. So we now with number 12, and even on number 12, I did not receive any matter. I saw your hand, Councillor. I see your hand, Councillor Skosana. I just want to finish my part here. So with all those items, I did not receive any item. Councillor Skosana.
Thank you, Mayor. I think let me use this opportunity to hijack your meeting in number 11, matters submitted by the acting municipality manager. Mayor, I'm not a Facebook person. Your opening was clear what's happening on Facebook and other stuff. Can the acting mayor just make sure that when we're gonna receive a full report regarding the case of the form of the MM, which is Dr. Vatala, because I don't want to speculate and read things between lines there when people are talking. Can he make it available for council if it is in green page and in a meeting so that we know what is the status quo of that disciplinary hearing? Thank you, sir.
Councillor Skosana, just to make sure, because these things are recorded and the public is listening, is the acting municipal manager, not the acting mayor. You probably just make a little mistake there.
MM.
Councillor Crouch, before I'm going to give to the acting MM. Councillor Crouch, your hand was up.
Oh, yes. Sorry, Mayor. I was muted. Mayor, I just want to congratulate you on your first MACO meeting, Mayor. Was a very productive meeting, Mayor. I can see now the council is in good hands. Thank you, Mayor.
Crouch, just hang on there a minute. Let me first deal with the issue of Councillor Skosana. Acting MM, you heard the concern with which Councillor Skosana raised, and that was the issue about the disciplinary hearing of the municipal manager. We don't have green pages in the mayoral committee. I therefore understand Councillor Skosana correctly that at the next council meeting, which is on the 30th of this month, there will be a report either in green or in white, and council will decide on that then about the disciplinary actions and other actions that council took a decision on previously. You follow that?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we can bring a green item to council to the next council meeting. I'm assuming that this becomes a resolution of the MACO, that we bring an item to the council meeting on the 30th to update council on the progress with the disciplinary hearing against the municipal manager. We will do so.
Can, if possible, also then get a item on all other disciplinary processes or resolutions on such issues at that meeting?
I'm assuming you're referring to disciplinary processes against senior managers.
All issues that is outstanding, that is out there in the social media domain, all those things, that allegation and decision that council took in that regard, a report just on that and the status of that. Amen.
Mr. Mayor, if I understand you correctly, you're referring to disciplinary matters that council is involved in. Am I correct, Mr. Mayor?
You're correct in the part of it, and also other. Just remember, there were other actions also which council embarked on like investigations by independent investigators. If there are any reports that is still outstanding, that he also then provide at the next council meeting those reports or the status of those reports. You
Okay,
follow me?
I understand you, Mayor. There is a report coming to council on those matters, so we'll have an opportunity to discuss it.
Okay, thank you very much, MM. Councillor Skosana, I hope that address your concern.
No, niyavuya kakhulu manzi mayize lento kagqirha siyibone iphikisa ngaphi. Dr. Vatala.
Thank you so much. We're welcoming the response, and then we are waiting for the report of Dr. Vatal so that we can have a direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kosana. Councillor Matika?
I don't know if I'm speaking outside, but let me speak it here. Mayor, the last issue that I think that I don't know if we need to have another item maybe on the next week. The issue of standby and overtime, Mayor. As you know that I've been reporting that is creating a lot of problem in terms of our department infrastructure, in terms of electrification and the plumbers and those stuff. The issue of 25 hours overtime to 40 hours. So I don't know if we in the next council meeting or how we're gonna deal with that issue, Mayor. Just want to check because currently, you know, we're having it because of this COVID. We're having a lot of challenges where people, some of the workers are on self-quarantine, majority of them. Then those who are there, they have to work more hours. Now they have to work and now they finish their overtime before month end because they have to work 2 days or 3 days per day. By this time, then you'll be told that no, there's no one for overtime. There's no one because they have finished their overtime. So it's creating a problem. So I just want to check so that we can move from that 25 hours to 40 hours.
I saw your hand.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. There are two elements to this. The one is the council policy that restricts to 25 hours, and then there's the disaster management regulations that allow us to exceed even the legislative barrier of 40 hours. So if there's a COVID-related reason why people need to work more overtime, then we use the disaster management regulations to approve that. So there is no impediment to that, Mr. Mayor. What we must do is to look at the council policy that restricts it to 25 and change that so that we, under normal circumstances, we allow for what is allowed under the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So for COVID-related reasons, there is no reason why we need to stick to 25. We must just record why it is that we are exceeding the council policy at this point.
I'm understanding you correct, and I think the point raised by Councillor Matika was based on the fact that we do have problems with service delivery because of COVID-19. That's a fact because of staff that is going into quarantine and isolation. We do have the challenges. And I think why I raise it is because that challenge have an impact on overtime and other activities. And listening to you, the only way that we can deal with the overtime is on two bases. One, that we review and rescind our current decision on the 25 hours, and that would have to become as an item to council. Or secondly, provision made through COVID-19 and the regulations that allow us to exceed to some extent based on the provision of basic services, that we will be able to do that. But the latter part, that would be an administrative issue. So that you can decide, that you as the acting MM can decide whether you want to increase people's spending overtime based on that emergency regulations. That's an administrative issue. But if you therefore feel, acting MM, that council needs to review and rescind their decision on 25 hours, then the concern by Councillor Matika is that should then be an item for council to take a decision on. And that's how I understand the process here. So if that is the case and you think it's necessary for us to change and review and rescind the decision, let's have an item in council. Councillor Gombo?
Councillor Salazar, please, Mayor. I don't
And
have.
then Councillor Salazar, I didn't see her, and my apologies, Councillor Salazar. I see her as an MS, but it's sometimes Kusana. Okay, first Councillor Gombo, then Councillor Salazar. Speaker, speak, man.
Speaker.
Seeing that the speaker is trying to get herself ready, can you continue?
Can I continue, Speaker? Mayor.
You keep away, Councillor Salazar, go ahead, sir.
Okay, Mayor. Mayor, man, I want to take this opportunity. I don't want to be a complainer all the time when I am part of the decision making sometimes. I know, Mayor, these issues sometimes I speak to you and the members of the committees. I want to speak it here in this meeting. As a chairperson of community services, I don't blame anyone because this problem is coming for a long time. I think in the past few weeks, Mayor, I have a serious problem I see in my eyes. When I see these people is painting the roads, is lying in one smaller nyanabaki of the community services. 7 people is lying on the back of the buggy. It's a 2 in front, so 9 people is lying in one buggy, going to Sarsfield and paint the road. Those people, you know, is painting the roads, even all the wards. I look at what is the COVID is going in this kind of situation, and that buggy is an old buggy. If you can see, maybe it's a 3-year buggy or 4-year buggy. It's an old buggy, but 9 people is going in. Even the law enforcement have 2 vehicles there. We have more than maybe 11, more than 10 law enforcement. I don't know what those people is working. In the traffic department, also the same things. We have more traffic in our side. Maybe say 2 buggies, we have it. I don't know other people is going with. I don't know, Mayor, what is really happening. In my information, I get it. I get the information that it's a 2 because I know when Dr. Grant is here, is cutting, but is leave 2 other buggies to buy for a law enforcement. The information I get it is a fleet management is taking to the tender. But in the end of the day, I found out that there is no such things. There's no money things. I speak with my director so that I can give the solution because I don't want to give the problems. I want to be part of the solution. I say, I already see there is a 4 million of Philippines. I know it's a lot of Philippines is taking all over this municipality in Lori Park and where. I don't know what is the 40 million is sitting there for what. We want the 1 million to put to buying the cars because people now is affected with COVID-19 and other people who can get injured in these old buggies is running to community services. Unfortunately, the report I get it in there somewhere in my director sitting with the finance director and all that. You cannot take the money. This money is money for the wheelie bins and all that kind of stuff. So I want to put in this way, Mayor. This situation is bad at the moment. I don't want other people when something has happened, everybody say we don't know. I put it in this way. We have a problem of there is no vehicles in the community service. And I'm saying to the director, is want to put other casual. I tell you, put casual for what? We have a shortage of the vehicles now, and the people of the law enforcement and other people, it's difficult even to get a uniform. I want to put in this way, I don't know what is really happened in that situation, Mayor. And these things is difficult to stand. Even if you can go, you can look at the buggy of those people is painting. It's a smaller nyana buggy. That people is all over the nice now. So I think, Mayor, the issue of the buggies you must be in place now because of the COVID-19, because you cannot put 9 people, 8 people in the smaller nyana buggy, 6 people on the smaller nyana buggy on the back. What you are doing on that? So I want to put in this way, mayor, I want to put in this way, all director and even the leading of municipality is supposed to must consider this issue as a matter of agents. Please, Mayor. Thank you.
Councillor Nelson, thank you very much. I know that you are very emotional about this issue because you raise it every time with me privately and also in the mayoral committee discussions. So I would love the responsible director just to respond to that and what could be a solution to deal with the problem which Councillor Salase feels so dear to. I saw the hand of Mr. Sean Maria.
Thank you, Mayor. So, Mayor, I'm responding in terms of being the Acting Director of Technical Services under which Fleet Management resides. Council will recall that over the past months, we have discussed the affordability of the budget at length, I suppose, and the affordability of purchasing of vehicles was very high on that discussion. To that end, we decided, the council decided that we would space the purchasing of the vehicles over the next, or over the MTREF, let's just call over the next 3 years, and the purchasing of vehicles for the municipality was then prioritized over those 3 years. After much discussion, obviously, between directors and directorates having to prioritize within themselves and things like that, but ultimately it came down to affordability. So council approved the budget. Where we are now is, in fact, tomorrow, there is a bid specification committee for the tender for the purchasing of vehicles over this MTREF period. And the priorities of how those vehicles will be purchased is how the budgets are foreseen going forward. I can inform Councillor Salasi that in terms of the priorities of that, of vehicles, in the current financial year, we will buy 1 compacted truck, which is a waste truck for community services, and 1 bakkie. And that is what we can afford in this financial year. So in the current financial year, 75% of the vehicle budget will go to community services. In the next financial year, we'll buy 8 vehicles, and in the following financial year, we'll buy 10, but that will be a spread over the municipality. So, Councillor, we are working on it. The bid specification sits now. Once the bid is approved and a supplier is identified, we would have bought the time over the next 3 years ahead of time. We will not have to wait to go to tender and do all of those processes again, because we will spend that time now. Next financial year and the year after will be done and dusted. The only thing that we need to do is issue an order and purchase the vehicle in the next financial year. But affordability for the municipality was a great consideration. So we are doing all that we can on the administrative side to get things proactively ready. But our financial position is our financial position, Chair. And so we will get ready to respond to anything, if anything changes, but the vehicles cost money, which I suppose we do not have in the grand scheme of things. The compacted truck is extremely expensive. I mean, there's probably 5 bakkies worth, but it is a requirement for basic service delivery of the municipality. We cannot defer that truck for another year. You will hear the Director of Community Services cry now if we take that thing off and buy more bakkies. It is just where we are now. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Mr. Maria. Acting MM, I saw your hand before I get to councillors.
Mr. Mayor, no, thank you. And the Acting Director of Technical Services is correct under normal circumstances. But you've also put in place, Mr. Mayor, a process for all the directorates to go and have a look at the requirements in terms of COVID-19 and to see whether we shouldn't reprioritize budget to address the scourge of COVID-19 that we're experiencing also in the municipality. And in that process, the Director of Community Services, together with his councillor, are looking at whether they can reprioritize on their current budget some of the capital expenditure, and where they do not have the funds to reprioritize to Veriment on their own votes, we will, in the adjustments budget in September, consider what we need to do. So we are under abnormal circumstances at the moment, and therefore we are looking at doing things. I just need to caution council, however, that we won't have additional funding. So wherever we identify new priorities to fight the scourge of COVID-19, it means that we'll have to take it away somewhere else where it has been budgeted before. So the directorates are looking at that, and in our meeting that we had, if memory serves me, it was yesterday, it was said that the Director of Community Services will go and have a look at whether there are some projects that can be pushed out to outer years to fund the emergency needs that they have in terms of vehicles to fight the scourge of COVID-19. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Just before I give to certain councillors, just want to make sure that the hands in front of me, I want to deal with it. Mr. Marie, there's an old hand. Can you put that down, please? Unless you want to add on to what the just said. Thank you very much. Then I've got the hands of Councillor Salasi. Is that an old hand or is this a follow-up, Councillor Salasi? If it's an old hand, put it down. If it's not an old hand, keep it up. Your hand is still up. Your hand is still up. Just hang on. Just put your hand down. And then Councillor Matika, I saw your hand also. So the two hands that is still up, Councillor Matika and Councillor Salasi, and those will be the two last councillors. Councillor Matika.
Thanks, Mayor. I think maybe I don't have luck today. I've been raising this hand. I wanted to make a follow-up when was speaking on the issue of overtime. Just wanted to check in terms of, I know when we're doing a budget, we have done lots of cutting. So I wanted to check, are we having any budget for overtime to extend? Just wanted to check that because I hear the was saying about those two issues, that amend the policy or use the disaster management issue. I just want to check in terms of a budget. We also having a budget for it, or there is a separate budget that we just wanted to check on that issue.
Thank you, Councillor Matika. Councillor Lasse, you want to have a follow-up on your concerns raised about the fleet?
Yes, no, Mayor, it's fine with me, Mayor. That's why I'm saying that I don't blame anyone in this situation, because this situation has happened even before old directors and the old, but we are here now to solve the problem. I think to acting director of technical service must understand we deal with a human being. We deal with the COVID-19 at the moment. We speak with the people at the moment. I understand last week, the most of the traffic cop is affected of the COVID-19. We understand that those people, let's use one party as 4 people. You see, when we speak with the human being, you must understand you are not speaking with the cows and other things. You speak with the people. But I'm very happy that these things we must treat as a matter of agency. This is what it's difficult in these days, Mr. Mayor, when you can't maintain the workers, you are already have it, but you are busy with Trump, the casual, and anyone everywhere wasting the money, but you can't sustain the workers who have it. To me, it's difficult to understand. As I'm saying to my director, at the moment, if we can't sustain the workers we have it, what come with the program that we can employ another people for doing what? So I'm saying, Mayor, I understand what is the acting director of technical services doing. As I'm saying, I want to be part of the solution. That's why I'm saying that we have a 4 million sitting there for Willie Beans. We want a 1 million there. I want somebody to say that, no, we can't do that, because I want to be part of the solution. But to sometimes when the people saying that going this, these things has not happened. We're working with a human being people. As I'm speaking here, these people is outside doing their job. Understand when that party is taking the people now to only to with the 8 people in that small party, and don't speak stories here. I speak something has happened now. We deal with a human being. I don't speak about a compactor party and other. I speak with a human like you, acting director. Thank you.
Councillor Salazar, thank you very much. As again I said, I admire the fact that you are so very vocal about things that you believe is quite dear to your department and to your heart. I was quite clear in my discussion with the mayoral committee, in my discussions with the TMT, directors and the municipal manager. We are in unusual times. And it's important to know that this municipality needs to continue providing services to our communities out there. We don't have a choice. The Act tells us, the regulation tells us what to do. And it's therefore imperative that the directors, the MM, and portfolio councillors sit down and look at the challenges in the different directorates and departments, which was caused by this pandemic. It cannot be work as usual. Having all these challenges of people being, and now coming also to Council Matika, having people in quarantine or even in isolation, it put a serious pressure on other staff that needs to do the work in their places while they're not there. So it's important for us, and I'm going to repeat myself every time on this issue. If there are challenges in your directorates and in your department, you need to deal with it. As Councillor Larson normally say, we should stop talking and start doing the work. So I don't expect people to continue talking about the challenges. I need people to deal with the challenges, because that is what's required out there by the public and by the regulations. MM, I see your hand. I hope it's just a quick response to the question about budgetary for overtime by Councillor Matika. MM?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is indeed a response to Councillor Matika. And the response is as follows. We do not have additional budget for overtime. So if overtime increases, it means that other expenditure must decrease. And that goes for each one of our expenditures. We have not budgeted for a surplus. We budget like we should for a break-even budget, but we know that even that break-even budget is under threat, because we are not sure whether we'll be able to raise the revenue that we've put into the budget. So no, there is no additional budget. So where overtime is more than what was budgeted for, we'll have to find other sources for it. And even where we have budget, we need to make sure that we get the revenue that we plan for, because without cash, having lines on a budget means nothing. So we need the cash in the bank in order for us to be able to pay for the expenditures that we've budgeted for. I hope that clarifies the matter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, MM. Councillors, as I said earlier, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to get more difficult. It shouldn't be business as usual, but I can assure you, if you believe that this is currently bad, we need to look forward to what's going to happen post-COVID-19. Then it's going to be bad. So therefore, in my discussions with all role players in our town, whether it's business people, whether it's officials, whether it's normal members of the public out there which come into this office, we all need to stand together to make sure that there is a NISNA post-COVID-19. And we need all those expertise, whether it's business people, whether it's politicians, whether it's councillors, whether it's normal public out there, officials. We're going to need one another much more as we think we're going to do. So please, coming back to what I've said right at the beginning, we cannot allow that our officials being abused by individuals out there in public or on institutions or organizations, and we keep quiet. I want to be quite clear on this issue. If you have any proof of any activity, whether it's corruption, maladministration, whatever the case may be, you've got all the proof there, I would advise you to go and lay a charge at the police. Don't run to social media and then believe that this municipality and this council and this office of the mayor will react to your social media activities. It's not going to happen. We will not take decisions based on the fact that people will put a gun against the head of the council and administration so that they can have an outcome that they want to have. It's not going to happen like that. To the staff involved, I can assure you that we will not leave any stone untouched to make sure that we protect our staff. And I will continue doing that. So councillors, I also want you then to support me in that regard and protect our staff. It's fine, people can say anything about the mayor or the deputy mayor or even councillors. We're elected people. It comes with a trait. 'n Oud onderwyser het gesê, as jy bereid is om uit te gee vir 'n toffie, dan jy bereid is om gekoud te word. That's our job. We have to take that. But we can't have that situation that we allow people out there doing the same to our staff. They're supposed to do a normal job. So thank you very much again. Thank you very much to my committee. Thank you very much to all the councillors. Acting Admin, thank you very much for your work, which is very difficult at this stage. And thank you very much to all those members of the public that do take our town seriously. And it's not there only just to make sure that we have a negative view about Knysna. We need people of Knysna to be positive and work constructively to a better Knysna. Baie dankie, thank you, and Kos. Ek dink nie as enige iets anders wat mense wou gesê het of gevra het nie.
I don't think there's anything else that somebody else wanted to say.
No, thanks, Chair.
If not, councillors, officials, members of the public, thank you very much. And enjoy the rest of your day. En gaan werk nou bitterlik hard.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Luzuko.
Mayor.
Meeting adjourned.
Mayor.
Meeting adjourned.
Continue. Meeting is adjourned. What you now talk is just off the record.
Mr. Mayor, just on a lighter note, we've taken note of those two portfolio chairpersons who only have items to be noted in the MACO.
Councillor Teokolo, I was considering giving that portfolios to you because there's no work there.
Chokolo.
So you're quite happy seeing that there's nothing that can be discussed. They only noted we give that portfolio to you.
The best competent councillor, the competent one.
You must unmute, Smiley. Smiley, you must unmute.
No, bye.
Sure.
Yeah.